Um, moving right along. So there was a couple other things. Tom Holland. I love talking about Tom Holland. He's like one of my favorite topics. So Tom Holland there's a rumor going around that Tom Holland is under consideration to, along with Pete Davidson, to host the Oscars.
Whack.
And it's just like, all right, Pete Davidson, I get, right?
I guess.
Well, more often than not, they used to go for somebody who could do comedy to host the Oscars, right?
Yeah.
It wasn't an outright comedian. It was somebody who could, do some comedy, right? And they had Anne Hathaway and James Franco try one year, right?
But we know James Franco ain't coming back.
No. No. What do you think about the idea of either Tom Holland or even Pete Davidson hosting the Oscars? Like, I know how we feel about the Oscars, but what about these two hosting it?
Here's my thing. I think that if Pete Davidson wasn't dating, Kim Kardashian, he would never be in a consideration, just like he's never been in consideration before. I personally would not want Tom Holland to do it, primarily because I don't think that non-comedians make for a good fit for a host. Now, the reason why I say that is because usually comedians will be more willing to push the envelope. They don't sound as scripted as actors do. And I think one of the best things, if you even care to watch these award shows, is a comedian is able to improvise. If something just wild happens, they're able to improvise, but you want them to improvise in a smart, good way. I think Pete Davidson would go up there and say some wild stuff and never get invited back to the Oscars ever again. I would not be surprised if some Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake mess happens, under his watch. And I'm not saying these two would be the same, but I saw how Anthony Mackie, for example, he was hosting, I forget what awards it was. And it was like, it just wasn't all that good. It was just one of those things where he would say a funny joke here or there, but you knew that joke came from somebody else, some other writer, and it just didn't feel natural. Now you compare that with classic stuff with Billy Crystal, Ricky Gervais, Ellen, those are usually the best, because even in between some of the sets or whatever, like Ellen doing the huge, crazy impromptu selfie with all the stars, just little or Ricky Gervais out there blasting everybody. And I want to say he even blasted Harvey Weinstein before Harvey was known to be a terrible person, So, or Seth from Family Guy, MacFarlane, those, you want that level of creativity and improvisation, and not just the next best person. The only actor I might be okay with, and I think he did this before, might have been The Rock, but that's also because The Rock is a really talented individual and entertainer. The
Rock is like the Mario Lopez of acting.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He could do anything. Right? He could do anything. So, his mic skills from the WWE alone are enough proof that he could do stuff on the drop of a dime, improvise if need be, and still keep it professional. I'm sorry, I'm just not checking for Tom Holland like that. Man, can we just acknowledge this? Can we just acknowledge this? Tom Holland is not, and I mean this with the utmost respect. He's not a star outside of being Spider-Man. Maybe when he becomes Nathan Drake and the Uncharted series, if that takes off. But outside of that, despite the many movies that he's done, thanks to being Spider-Man and his exposure, he's not top tier like that. People are not saying, yo, there's a new Tom Holland movie, let's go run and buy those tickets. Now, if it's a Spider-Man movie, we out there, we breaking box offices. Wasn't nobody rushing to go see Cherry. But nobody rushing to go see Chaos, whatever it was on
It's
Netflix.
funny, right? That weird effect that some actors have. It's like they can make this character bankable, right?
Yes.
You know,
Or
Andrew
is it the character that's bankable in itself?
Andrew Garfield and Sony didn't make this character this bankable, but Tom Holland did.
I don't know if that was. I think those are two different things. I think both of those. So the issue was never Spider-Man. The issue was always production. My analogy I wanted to make there was that they could be so bankable inside this franchise, but the moment they step away, quiet. Like Tobey Maguire had that issue, right? Whenever he went and did Seabiscuit or whatever it was in between Spider-Man, nobody cared. Yeah. A lot of stuff Andrew Garfield has done since Spider-Man, I haven't watched. Like if I saw him in a movie, it was by accident. You know? He's not bad. I don't want to take nothing away from Andrew Garfield because I'm
not saying he's bad. I'm just saying I didn't look for movies from him. When I would look for other movies and he would be in it, it was a pleasant surprise. It was by accident.
And shout out to Tick Tick Boom because that was actually a pretty decent movie with Andrew Garfield. But no, I think this is just a situation where the role is, huh?
You watched Tick Tick Boom?
Yeah. I didn't finish it, but it was a good movie. It was good up until I'm just not that into musicals, but from everything I got like an hour and a half, like an hour into it, something like that. But it was good. I just haven't finished it. That's all. But I would just say that this is just a situation where the character clearly supersedes the actors, all of them. Spider-Man is bigger than all three actors.
Clearly, I think